Welcome, my dear guests, to the captivating expanses of my story. Chapter 20. The battle-hardened First Space Fleet had completed its daring journey to the depths of the Baisho system, a dark star located deep in another arm of the galaxy. The odyssey there had been of immeasurable length and characterized by countless hardships. Previously, the Space Fleet had crossed the Thuesh system and conquered it with flying colors. It was on the threshold of taking Baisho into its iron grip. Admiral Paulina Romero stood tall on the bridge of her flagship, the Justice. Her eyes, suffused with a steely gray, rested steadfastly on the assembly of peaceful planets that stretched before her and would soon be incorporated into the Empire. Status report. She blared at the navigator in an insistent voice. Admiral, we have reached Baisho, the officer replied with a hint of awe. There are no signs of resistance. The First Space Fleet is ready to move into the attack at your command. Romero inclined her head curtly. Excellent. Let the invasion begin. The majestic flagship Justice cut across the expanse of space, surrounded by an escort of battle-hardened warships that symbolized her strength and resolve. Romero, filled with a burning desire for vengeance, clenched her fists, imbued with the energy of a powerful psionic. Soon, another system would stand under the Empire's banner as the galaxy held its breath. While the First Space Fleet was preparing for the imminent invasion in the vastness of the cosmos, the legendary Saint General Nadine Heimer had been awarded the awe-inspiring title of Realm Liberator. Her unwavering determination had already freed countless Unis worlds from the merciless shackles of her fanatical theocracy. In a world where peace and harmony were desirable, the brave warrior realized that sometimes only the concentrated power of violence could pave the path to true freedom. She was awarded the Order of the Galactic Eagle in a majestic ceremony, that sublime military honor. Nadine, filled with pride, now adorned her chest with this token of recognition. But as the space fleets continued their inevitable expansion, doubt gnawed at the deepest corners of Nadine's mind. In an intimate meeting with Sister Myra, she revealed her deepest concerns, which hovered like shadows over her soul. Her voice trembled audibly as she asked, "Is all this devastation and pain necessary? Do we have to resort to such cruel deeds to consolidate our power?" Myra sighed sympathetically as she looked out over the endless expanse of the galaxy. Her words sounded like a whisper in the ear of the stars. "A burden of immeasurable weight rests on our shoulders," she breathed softly. "But without our courageous intervention, these distant worlds would be consigned to the horrors of tyranny and the abyss of misery." Nadine bowed her head humbly. She knew Myra spoke the truth, but the shadows of doubt held her captive. Amidst the raging storm of warlike events that held the galaxy in their clutches, the research department forged ahead incessantly in their laboratories. Their minds were filled with visions of a future where the boundaries between worlds would blur, and cultures would merge in a harmonious dance of knowledge. The creators of this new era of hypercommunication were no mere mortals but pioneers of the mind, anchoring their thoughts in the depths of the galaxy. Their hands, as skillful as those of a master blacksmith, shaped the foundations of a technology that had the potential to break the bonds of distance and connect the peoples of the galaxy. These local hypercommunication platforms were the first steps to intergalactic networking. With each technological advance, the connections became faster and more stable, and communication between the different species became almost seamless. The pioneers of the mind ushered in a new era of sharing and collaboration that had the potential to transform the galaxy. Dr. Rita Griffin, the outstanding technology champion, was filled with intoxicating enthusiasm. "The limits are immeasurable," she exclaimed as she studied the virtual representation of the platforms in detail. "At last, we will break the isolation of the individual systems." Hinata Takahashi, her assistant, was a skeptic by nature. Her eyes sparkled with suspicion and caution as she voiced her concerns. "Such breathtaking technological advances undoubtedly harbor dangers," she whispered in her typically sober voice, which swept through the room like an icy breeze. But Griffin would not be dissuaded from her plan. She had already fallen under the spell of a vision of a networked galaxy. In the depths of the galaxy, where the limits of human imagination meet the infinite vastness of the cosmos, the most brilliant minds in science forged new technologies. Their thoughts were like twinkling stars pointing the way to a future full of possibilities. While the researchers perfected their groundbreaking inventions, humanity sent its first space fleet into the unexplored realms of the Prelude system. A place previously only existed in astronomers' dreams was now to become the stage for an epic conquest. The invasion began with a majestic elegance that took the breath away. The spaceships of the space fleet glided through the darkness of space as if they were part of a cosmic ballet. No obstacle could stop them, no resistance could slow their unstoppable forward motion. The planets of the Prelude system, once untouched and unexplored worlds, were now entered by the invaders. Their arrival caused a wave of fascination and horror, for no one had ever expected mankind to unleash such power in the galaxy. But as the conquest progressed, some of the astronomers began to harbor doubts. Only in the distant Chariot system, beyond the Polaris wormhole away from the Shireen sector, did the first space fleet dare to set its awe-inspiring course. There, in the depths of the cosmic ocean, it encountered resistance of unimaginable intensity. The Uni had built one of their last great space bastions here. But the first space fleet, a monumental masterpiece of technological brilliance, was unwilling to back down from the challenges of the galaxy. With overwhelming firepower that made the stars tremble, it broke the resistance of the Uni. The heavens shook with the sound of the dance of destruction as the space fleet made its way inexorably through the enemy ranks. And so it came to pass that justice triumphed, and Chariots, once a proud symbol of Uni civilization, sank into the oblivion of time. With majestic determination, the first fleet headed for the fascinating Blachwy system, a vital hub of interstellar trade in the sector. The conquest of Blachwy was accomplished with unprecedented speed, and within weeks, the precious trade routes were firmly in the Empire's hands. After the triumphant conquest, the battle-hardened First Fleet set course for the unexplored system of Fareh, a place surrounded by countless legends and myths, like clouds of mist around a mysterious temple. The voices of the space travelers whispered of ancient artifacts that were said to be hidden there, of relics of past civilizations that were waiting to be uncovered by brave explorers. But some spoke of alien energy beings whose power and knowledge ruled the system with an iron hand and punished any intruder with relentless severity. Amid this uncertain atmosphere, the space fleet ventured into the unknown, ready to confront Fareh's mysteries and change the galaxy's fate forever. Admiral Romero stood at the command post with a frown as the space fleet entered the system. Suddenly, the shrill sounds of the alarm sirens pierced the silence. "Contact!" The tactical officer's call echoed through the bridge. His words pierced the tense atmosphere like an electrifying bolt of lightning. The crew members froze as they sensed the urgency in his voice. A fleet of unknown ships was rushing towards them from the depths of space, a threat never before encountered by the Empire. Giant interstellar vessels of monumental splendor manifested out of nowhere, encircling the space fleet in a perfectly choreographed dance of cosmic power. Their flawless, obsidian-colored hulls engulfed the light of the stars as if they had created a dark dimension of their own. Undoubtedly, this was a formation of automated defense ships of unprecedentedly advanced nature. Romero called for a counterattack with a powerful command that vibrated in the air. Her words echoed and pierced the hearts of her brave Marines. The time for taking it easy was long gone. The Marines were ready to face the enemy with all their might and fight for their mission. The determination in Romero's voice left no room for doubt or hesitation. The majestic ships of the Imperium returned the withering fire with an unleashed fury. Blinding waves of energy rippled through the infinite universe as the automated space fleet went on the offensive with relentless determination. But the Imperial space fleet's sheer, overwhelming superiority was crushing. One by one, the mysterious ships were obliterated in a breathtaking spectacle of destruction. The navigator announced with a hint of excitement, "They're retreating." With a satisfied nod, Romero confirmed the successful completion of her mission. The system that was once in the hands of oppression had now passed into the possession of the mighty Empire. The darkness of the past gave way to a new age where power and control lay in the hands of those who had mastered the technology. Romero knew that it was his job to ensure that this power was used responsibly and did not lead to oppression and abuse again. On their fearless expedition through the unexplored system, they stumbled upon an ancient world whose former splendor and glory now existed only in the shadows of days gone by. The once vibrant metropolis, once the beating heart of a highly developed civilization, lay long in ruins, a silent witness to a bygone era of glory and power. But as they fought their way through the ruins, they quickly realized that, once filled with life and hope, the atmosphere was poisoned and surrounded by a dark aura that made their hearts tremble. Questions danced in their heads as they looked at the remains of this once thriving city. Who or what had brought this disaster upon this former stronghold of knowledge? What dark forces had turned this former bastion of progress into a dilapidated landscape of ruins? The answers seemed to be hidden in the shadows of the past. As they delved further into the depths of this mysterious world, They realized that they would not only have to fight against the remnants of destruction but also against the secrets and intrigues that once ruled this city. It was a challenge they accepted with determination, knowing that only by revealing the truth could this former stronghold of knowledge be resurrected. After the first space fleet had set its course for the fascinating Palu system in order to subjugate it with iron determination, the boundless empire began to expand inexorably in all directions. Like a hungry predator that has caught sight of its prey, it seemed to know no bounds and fear no obstacles. The stars themselves bent to the empire's will as it advanced inexorably to conquer new worlds and manifest its power over the universe. No resistance could slow the unstoppable advance of the imperial forces, for they were the embodiment of strength and determination. With each planet conquered, the empire grew, and its dominance became undeniable. The imperial forces were insurmountable, advancing inexorably and holding the galaxy in their grip. Meanwhile, the research department began creating majestic polar fortresses to protect the remote systems from any threat. Amid this massive undertaking, Dr. Rita Griffin was a true master of her craft. Her eyes shone excitedly as she was in her element, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. Imagine this immeasurable power, she breathed to her faithful assistant. Unreachable fortresses that rule entire sectors with an iron hand. Hinata frowned as her thoughts wandered across the infinite expanse of the galaxy. The concentration of such immense power carries an immeasurable risk, she replied in a voice filled with fear and determination. For absolute power, my friends can corrupt even the noblest souls and plunge them into the abyss. Her words echoed in the silence as her friends looked at her thoughtfully. They knew Hinata was right and had to be careful not to fall victim to their power. But at the same time, they felt a responsibility to use that power for the good of all and resist the temptation of corruption. But Griffin barely listened to her words, so absorbed was he in the depths of his visionary thoughts. And so it was that the battle-hardened First Space Fleet began its unstoppable advance into the fascinating Pareto system. The invasion unfolded with unprecedented ease, while the resistance of the underdogs was little more than a whisper. The fanatical cult of the Unis faced only 7 remaining systems, with the rest of their former dominion irrevocably lost. Meanwhile, Rita Griffin gracefully unveiled visions of a monumental undertaking, creating positronic artificial intelligence that would grace humanity with their tireless support. With an enthusiastic gesture, she declared, "This project will increase the efficiency of our systems many times over." Her words echoed through the futuristic room as the hologram's light reflected her shining eyes. It was a moment of enlightenment in which the boundaries of possibility blurred and the future came within reach. The world would never be the same again. But Keisha, the Grand Inquisitor, remained somber. Artificial intelligence is a technology with unimagined potential, but it also harbors the danger of slipping, she said thoughtfully. We are treading on dangerous ground. Once again, Griffin ignored the urgent warning that had come to him. The doubters might have doubts, but nothing could stop him from paving the way for the positronic robots. The epic battle of decision was approaching inexorably. The First Space Fleet had mastered the dangerous path into the Meskai system with majestic precision and conquered the outpost. Now, it was on the verge of shattering the last remaining bastions of the cult. The galaxy's fate hung by a thread, while tension hung in the air like electrical charges before a violent storm. Imperatrix Savia had retired to her sumptuous chambers to meditate in the depths of her mind on the fate of the liberated Unis. The question that wove around her thoughts was one of immense consequence: should the species that the false promises of a cult had won over be wiped out altogether? Or was there still a delicate spark of hope that could make a peaceful solution possible? In the shimmering halls of her mind, the possibilities unfolded like stars in the nighttime sky as Imperatrix Savia stepped into the vortex of decision, ready to guide the fate of the Unis with her incomparable wisdom. With a look of despair, Sister Nadine sought closeness to her adoptive mother. Her words were an impassioned plea that seemed to come from the depths of her soul. The destruction, Mother, must come to an end. She pleaded in a voice borne with the weight of responsibility. It's not too late to take a different path to lead us to a future full of hope and harmony. A deep sigh escaped Savia as she let her thoughts wander into the distance. Your words are true, my daughter, she breathed softly. This conflict has been raging for too long. We must find a way to end it peacefully. And so the eventful year 2299 ended, bringing the galaxy to the brink of the abyss. But perhaps something good could come out of these horrors after all. If old enmities could be overcome, a new spirit of understanding could take hold. The future was still shrouded in uncertainty. But amid these dark times, when hope was a faint whisper, there was still the possibility of raising the voice of reason and treading the path of peace. It was a fine line to cling to, even if the prospect of success seemed infinitesimal. For the alternative that hid in the shadows was of such a cruel nature that it was impossible to bear it even in thought. Hey, I would be happy if you could give my video a like, leave a comment and subscribe to my channel to stay up to date.